Good morning and welcome. And I do apologize for my show coming on uh, at 11 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock this morning. You're warmly welcome to Fight CPS with Bob Pace, your host. Now, we live in a reality world, and I do want to apologize. I do want to apologize. Um, it is hard. Now, a couple things I need to go over with you is that I um, do this show twice a day, and it's hard. I've been doing this now for 22 months, over 2,000 shows, and twice a day, 7 days a week. That's 14 live streams, and I'm on typically at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then again at 8 o'clock in the morning on the weekends. I also have a evening show at 7 p.m. every night of the week. Now, those times are in the west coast of California. It's called Pacific Standard Time. If you're on the East Coast, you're 3 hours ahead of me. You're over in England, you're 8 hours ahead of me. And over in Europe, you're 9 hours. And of course, Africa, you're 9 hours. But I'm here to help you with what I call the Child Protection System, CPS. Every state has counties, and each of those counties in every state has a government entity. And that government entity was created by Congress in 62. And it was instructed that the social services protect our children from neglect and abuse and do family reunification because it's been proven that biological parents are the best parents to raise their children. So if there's some hiccups in the family, it can be resolved and worked out. And so I really know it's very difficult and hard. I really, really do. And so this being said, um, it's really, really hard. When I lost my power, um, and I had to redo my show later here. Um, I work for anyway. I work at a small job. The problem is when I'm not paid, certain utilities will turn me off, and they just turn me on. And um, it is it's a hard thing because I've been doing this now time and time. I don't think anybody does 14 hours a week. 14 hours a week. But anyway, um, I am here to answer your questions and concerns. Now, there's lots of things you can do now. You can text a message um, about CPS or have a question. Now, I put the banner up there, and please follow the format. Your first name, your city, county, and state. Now, if you're outside of the United States, please include your country. Also, tell me about your CPS case so that Um, I know it's really hard out there. um, the hardest thing to do when you do the show repetitiously is try to be different each time and try to emotionally is really hard on this show because you really care about these people that call in. There's so many of you that I've gotten to learn. You're like my family. You come back time and time again. And it is a hard thing emotionally to go through CPS. I think a lot of us get what's called P, um, P, I think it's called post, no, something PSTD. Yeah, I think what that is that a lot of, including myself, get what's called um, what is PSTD? It's called the post traumatic stress disorder. Now, we hear about it all the time in the military. They go through and they fight a war. It's a traumatic event. And it's also the same thing that happens with CPS. You do fight event. I know myself and my wife, even my children, have experienced a lot of trauma in the child protection system. It's very hard. There's girls like Leica, or a lady, I should call her, not a girl. She's 40 years old. But Leica from South Africa called 2 mornings ago, very upset, very emotional, because her child had been taken to her when she called to report to the child protection system in South Africa because they're corrupt. Her boyfriend is a pedophile and she caught him. And because the way that she maybe talks to people or emotionally distraught, people think she's crazy in the head. PTSD is for real. It's a traumatic stress disorder. And it, you know, it is characterized by a range of systems, including intrusive memories, avoidance behaviors, um, negative changes in mood and thinking, increase arousal and reactivity. I mean, it's hard. It's a disturbing experience when you're overwhelmed by what's happened to you. When a government agency you don't know reaches out and takes your child, and that child is taken from you, and you don't quite understand it because I'm afraid that there's enough rogue agencies out there. They're good and bad. I'm not saying all CPS is bad, but I say 50% of them because that's what's been calling on my show. I've talked to 2,500 people, and um, I'm just it's really hard. The thing that you're going through, this trauma, And I just see that throughout a lot of people. I see that the girl from Oxnard, California, who her real name is Felicia, but her handle on um, YouTube, I'm kind of drawing a blank about it. Anyway, she comes on twice a day, and it is a it is a tragic thing to have your life interrupted. You know, I understand what you all are going through. I mean, it's taken me a long time, but I think I've had PTSD too. And anyway, it is very emotional to have a government agency who actually is very corrupt. Now, I did not know about the rules that I've come up with. I have 5 rules. And one of the rules is my rule number 3 is where it starts first. When they come to your home to investigate, you don't have to open your door. You don't even have to talk to them because if you do talk to them, it hurts you. Right now, there's a gentleman named David from San Rio and has a case in Santa Barbara County. Vincent Davis is his attorney, and he is fighting for his life out there because family members and his daughter have turned against him and said that he did something to his daughter, something inappropriate. He says it's not true. One minute his daughter recants it, another minute she's tricked into it. She's a young child. She doesn't know what she's doing. I know firsthand, I had a 12-year-old that did not want to speak or talk to her father when CPS took her. She was talking to her mother, but eventually that stopped. And because we caught the social worker with a lie, she committed perjury on the stand. Vincent was that good. She retaliated. This is the problem. CPS does retaliate. They don't like to be called out. I know at first with my case, I started telling the social workers and the supervisors and the managers that they're wrong or what they're doing. They're breaking their own rules. They don't like to hear that. And the more you squawk at them, in fact, I talked to the director of the child protection system in Orange County, California, and I met with him. He had a Taj Mahal of a place. It was so luxury, it's unbelievable. His working staff in Orange County has an old drab building that they work at, but not his building. He had something like a 10-story building that looked like something from the Wizard of Oz, the Emerald City. And I am um, so it is a hard thing. I'm trying to express my interests and stuff. Hi, Barkley. Barkley is one of my family. I'm so glad you're here, Bartley. Bartley is a Swedish person. She was on my show not too long ago as a guest. Her and her partner, I think his name was Kelly, have a really bad case in CPS where they just came in and they broke the door down. Her case was terrible. She did not want them in, but apparently they broke the door down. They had a fake warrant. They took her to the ground on her bed and handcuffed her. And now she has her criminal charges, trumped up charges. And they stole her child. They stole her child. I could go on case after case after case. Now, another way that you can interact on this live stream is to be I'm sorry, that's not the one there. To be a guest on my live stream. To be a guest on my live stream, um, you just contact my show producer and email her. Its banner's on the screen. You just pick one of my 14 shows. Tell them that you want to be on Bob's Sunday morning show, or Bob's Saturday night show, or Bob's Wednesday morning show, or Tuesday night show. One of the 14 shows you put in the email, and she'll send you a link to get on to an application I use called StreamYard. StreamYard is the application uses YouTube and presents this format. Now, I'm a down to earth kind of guy. I'm not a lawyer, but I have 42 years of marriage experience, 61 years of life skills, and I've helped raise 6 children. And I love my children. 3 of them are my older children. They have families of their own, and they were not involved in CPS directly, but indirectly, they're impacted by the accusations of CPS. And in my case, I had a laypersons. They were my in laws and their in laws' family. My wife's mother, father, 3 sisters, and a brother were constantly calling in every week for 5 years, reporting something that wasn't true. It all started when I lost my job at age 60 and through no fault of my own. Um, it's hard when you lose a job at an older age, but I've been determined. I've worked so hard. Um, Today was probably the worst experience when you have your electrical power turned off. They don't give you a warning. 1 minute you have power, next minute you don't. And my phone was not charged quite yet. And you always have it plugged in, so as a backup plan. Now I know my computer is halfway charged, and hopefully it'll last through this show. I've turned down everything that uses the resources um, on my live stream here. But anyway, my show producer did help me, and I um it is hard. It's one of the hardest things to do right now. Okay. Um, it is hard. And I was speaking earlier about the PSTD. It's a very emotional upheaval here. Um, Hi, Dorothy. Who was the first child in CPS custody or had CPS case originally? Well, I don't know who the first child was in CPS. I do know the history of taking care of our children in the country. We've been always interested in the well being of our children. In the United States, it started off in the 1600s. There are three time periods that they address from 1600 to 1875. There was a special case in 1875, but I think it started in 1873. But there have been cases over the years of children in need of help. And, also we have, you know, a case of where a girl that was brought up in a foster family that was abused and hurt, and it was really bad. She lived quite a long time, and um, her case, was addressed in 1875. The reason why it's 1600 to 1875 is that there's sporadic cases of helping people or children. But in 1875, there was a society of very wealthy people. And in what happened in New York, there were hordes of children running wild because you see, children run away from home because of a lot of reasons. And I know it's hard to raise a family with no supportive income. I cannot tell you how hard it is. I cannot tell you how hard it is. Um, because I experienced this firsthand, and that's why I'm a valuable resource. Now, the reason why I'm talking about post traumatic syndrome is that I'm trying to analyze the people like myself who are very emotionally involved and are traumatized when your life is interrupted. You see, I was already traumatized when I lost my job. See, I'd already worked for 45 years. I started at the age of 15. And at age 60, I lost that job. And it's the worst feeling to have because I had my forever job. I had my forever home and my forever family. The idea of having a family. Now, I have since I lost my job, I have worked at parts and bits, but the problem is that CPS will be a record. And anybody does a background check will find out your involvement with CPS. And whether you're guilty or not guilty, they'll hold it against you. They'll hold it against you. And thank you, Dorothy. Mary Ellen Wilson. That was who I was looking for. Yes. Yes. Okay. Who was the first child? It was Mary Ellen Wilson. I don't know that. Let me look that up, Dorothy. That's really good. Um, yeah, Mary Ellen Wilson. That was the one I was trying to think of the name. She was born in March of 1864 and she died in October 30th, 1956. And she was an American victim of child abuse. In 1874, 10-year-old Mary Ellen Wilson was a survivor of the first high profile child abuse case in the United States. So that was the first time we had the case there of Mary Ellen Wilson. And it was terrible. Um, Now, there's a quick history of child abuse. April is Natural Child Abuse Prevention Month. It's already passed. It's a tradition formally established in 1983 after decades of efforts by children advocates who pushed to create and change laws to protect those most vulnerable in society. The purpose of the month is to raise national awareness in child abuse. In 1874, a 10-year-old Mary Ellen Wilson was survivor of the first high-profile child abuse case in the United States at a historical time when animal cruelty was prioritized over the children treatment. They had the Animal Humane Society long before they had protection of children. A number of prominent New York citizens advocated for Mary Ellen, including a well-known social worker named Mariette Elton Wheeler. Wheeler consulted the police on allegation of physical abuse by Mary Ellen's adopted mother, but they declined to investigate the case. Also, there were multiple child assistance charities at the time. When Wheeler sought assistance from these charities, they lacked authority to intervene in the family. Eventually, Wheeler consulted the founder of the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. That's the ASPCA. Henry Burke and his lawyers worked to find a legal mechanism to rescue Mary Ellen, and a judge ordered the girl to be removed from her foster mother. The New York State Supreme Court heard the case, and a jury convicted the girl's foster mom of assault and battery in the nation's first child abuse conviction. Following the rescue of Mary, Burke worked to create a charitable society devoted to child protection called the New York Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Children. Wow, the development was the first in a series of steps to begin protecting children from abuse and neglect. However, notably, Mary Ellen Wilson's case only came to light because an unknown concerned neighbor called an activist who worked locally in the area to check in on the child. There is a layperson, they weren't a professional. In 1962, Henry Kemp and Bernard Steele published their pioneering paper called The Battered Children's System. That was done in the Journal of American Medical Association. This article exposed the reality of child abuse and provided doctors with concrete ways to identify, understand, and report suspected child abuse to authorities. Less than 10 years after the article's release, all 50 states in the United States have passed some form of mandatory reporting law for child abuse. The child protection movement had continued to grow and evolve with federal legislation enacted in 1974. That was where the Congress, under the Child Abuse Protection and Treatment Act, CAPA, which provided federal funding to states for prevention, identification, and treatment resources. In the early 1980s, the United States Congress made a commitment to identify and implement solutions to prevent child abuse. Now it's 1980s, that's not too long ago. And designated the month of April as National Child. Okay, we already know about that. Federal legislation further child protection abuse prevention efforts continues to be active, such as the Family First Preventive Services, Protecting Young Victims from Sexual Abuse and State-Supported Authorization Act of 2017, as well as Child Protection Improvement Act of 20. Former Barack Obama, who was our president, change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the ones that change to seek. So numerous advocates begin the child abuse prevention program or the change makers refuse to accept what is currently in place, so it should be. There's always people who fought to make voices of children heard, who continue to inspire and activate current and future child abuse prevention advocates. As a nation, we've evolved significantly since 1874 in our commitment to protect the most vulnerable in our society. However, this change would not have happened. I'll take you to church. Okay, well, I got a half an hour. However, this change would not have happened without those who are willing to pick up the torch and pass it to the advocate. Remember that the initial flame which sparked our nation's attention in response to child abuse, was lit by an unnamed person, a concerned neighbor who identified a child in great need of help. Each of us has the opportunity responsibly to be a change maker and touch for child prevention. Light the flame, carry the torch, never stop advocating to protect the ones who need it the most. Now, this again is the early stages. But what's happened now, we're now in 2025. My case happened in 2015. And it's hard to believe that in 2017, they were still trying to, the Protection Young Victims Sexual Abuse and Safe Act, okay? In 1997, President Clinton signed into law the Incentive Act, which was not a good thing because they got tired of waiting for family reunification. It sometimes takes a year. So they wanted to reward a CPS agency with a bonus of $35,000 per child if they would get adopted into foster care. Now, what's happened is that the pendulum has swung. Yes, our children are more protected today than they were, 200 years ago. And they are. But what's happened is that too many of the agencies have grown to get too much money, and the money freely flows from the federal government to the state to the county. And that's where the problem arises, because right now, guys call in. You all have something in common. You all have something in common. You all have something in common. And yeah, my case. Thank you, Dorothy, for summing it up on there. We really are at a crossroad, because right now the over 2,500 people that have called in or texted in, and I'm talking from around the world, not only from 22 countries, but all 50 states in the United States, including a lady from Washington, D.C., which is not a state, but there was a lady that was raped twice, once in a federal housing project and once in custody of the police, the District of Columbia Police. I don't know how much to tell you that Washington, D.C. is very corrupt. I know a lot of people are upset because our president is starting to make inroads. He's making inroads with DOJ. DOJ is contacting social services and investigating the bad practices of social services, the bad practices of the rogue child protection systems. It's all being investigated because the pendulum has switched. Yes, there are a lot of children that go unreported every day. It's not a perfect system. And we do need a government entity that protects our children. We need responsible social workers that are trained, educated, and have a license and are held accountable for their actions. Right now, my firsthand experience shows that the Orange County Child Protection System had a social worker working for my family that was in her early 20s that never got a college degree, never finished high school, was only interested in her Gucci purse, her eye makeup, and so forth. And she was terrible. She's the one that wanted to revenge, and she's the one that brainwashed our 12-year-old daughter, along with the help of a CASA individual and a crooked judge. Encourage her to divorce her parents, because in the state of California, you can divorce your parents at age 12. And what's so sad and so hard about this situation with my daughter is that she was told to divorce her parents, to emancipate her parents. Not only her parents, I'll never forget the day in court. She says, "Are you sure?" She asked my daughter, "that you want to divorce your parents? Because you're divorcing all your parents. You're divorcing your brothers, your siblings." She has 3 brothers and 2 sisters. And it was hard, but she went along with it because that's the kind of person she was. I don't blame a 12-year-old trying to make adult situations. She was also encouraged by the social worker to change her name. And she had a beautiful name. Her middle name was Hanalei, a place in Kauai that I think is beautiful. We thought it was beautiful. It's a beautiful name. But she completely changed her whole name, a name that we never gave her. And to make matters worse, she was encouraged to seal her birth certificate and get a new birth certificate and put her foster care parents as her mother and father. Not only that, she also acquired a second social security card because of her new birth certificate and was double dipping from my retirement. Money that I had already earned that the government had kept to give it to me when I reached my age that I'm at now. Um, I was receiving money to help me in my later life. It's my retirement fund. But also, if you're a parent and you're over the age of 60, you get additional funds for children under the age of 18. I was getting it for three of my young children. But when she was taken from us, CPS took that money illegally and sent it over to the foster care parents. And they were double dipping, meaning there was $1,000 originally, and then it was $2,000 a month was going to them, along with the money that they got to take care of our daughter. They get additional, $15,000 a month to be her foster parents. And I've seen the video, a horrific video of her daughter that's like a zombie testifying how important CASA is. And they are bad news. They're given to every parent and child involved in CPS. They're supposed to be supportive and help you, but all they have is elephant ears. And they take everything in and they feed it to CPS. They also corrupt your child because they talk to them. We have one of our sons who's 25, but he still has a relationship with his CASA worker now. And she likes to check in on him and what he's doing. But I don't know if it's healthy for an older woman to hang out with a young man for the purpose. I don't know what their relationship is. Our son has gone through so much upheaval and so much emotion. You know, thank God he's found God and he's trying to follow God. But it's really hard. We have a younger son, our youngest, who's 19. Now, my two older boys are finally moving out of the nest. They're both in college. They both have jobs, but they're struggling with their jobs. They're not good paying jobs, and they're not jobs they want to do. Just like me, it seems like no matter how old you are, it's hard to get work. I have a job that I work for Bangladesh wages. I'm paid sometimes 2 or 3 weeks later, and I have to get on my hands and knees and beg and plead to be paid. Plead to be paid. And it's sad because I depend on that income to pay my minimum bills. And I'm juggling between my electric bill, my rent, you know, other utilities, food, whatever, We do need things like toilet paper and paper towels, and struggling because I have to rationalize the paper towels and the toilet paper. I have a budget. I know how much money I have and how much I can afford. And I'm living on a very bad budget. Not only that, I'm living in the most expensive county in the country, the most expensive place at the beach. Now, I was born in California and I've been around the world and I've lived most of my life in California, but it is the most expensive. But why should I be punished because I live in a very expensive? The expenses are geared up mainly by CEOs. CEOs get rich and fat at their job. CEOs never have to worry about money. They never take corners. I've never gone through so much. I used to work with the CEO of Bank of America, Mr. Lewis, out of North Carolina. And he wanted to hear about me as a customer because I've been with my bank since 1964. I opened my account in June, the same time that my wife was born. And I started my job. And my job was, again, a very low paying job. It was $1.45 an hour. But I wanted money to support my interest and love with animals. And my mom and dad did not have the additional money to support my hobby. I also wanted other things. At that day and age, a 7-inch portable black and white TV was something I really wanted because I love football. and I wanted to watch football. And I bought this Sony 7-inch, and it was great. But I bought it with my money, and my boys have been working. They started their job in high school. They worked in the cafeteria, in the food service, and they worked for all 4 years in high school. Both boys did. And that's how they got the experience of working and how important money is. And one of my sons is so happy about money, he's saved up enough money that he can buy a car right now if he wanted to. Anyway, I'm probably jumping a little bit around here because it was a very traumatic day for me. I'm surprised I was able to get back on. It is really hard because they run this live stream very strict. There's no bending of any rules. And I have gotten my computer fixed, and I'm now able to come on my computer. But I also have power. I have to deal with the internet. Internet takes money, and it takes a lot. It really takes a lot, and it is so hard to have to buy the things I buy with little money. It's like constantly I'm trying to put a round screw in a square hole. They don't go together. A bolt or a screw has to fit the round part. I don't know how else to explain it to you, but it's bad. And I'm determined to somehow take care of my family. It's a big fight I have to do. I don't know if I can continue on with this live stream. This may be the last time I'm on here because I'm trying to talk to my boss that helps me, but he's struggling. He's struggling. And it's hard for me to believe that he's struggling when he has so much going on. And I depend on him so much, and I follow his direction to the T. I do exactly what he wants. And I really know that you guys need me. I know there's about 30 of you that come on here regularly. Cruella, who's the Facebook name for Felicia from the woman from Oxnard, who had an eviction. Her stepbrother evicted her from her house where she was taking care of her mother. Her mother's been kidnapped by her stepbrother. She needs a caregiver. She has a terrible time. Now, we don't know if all these stories are true. Just like I mentioned David from San Marino, who's been wrongfully accused of inappropriate with his daughter. We really don't know the truth of all this till it goes through the system. But we have a system that I think needs to be changed and updated. This child protection system should be done on a jury trial. It should be the peers determine whether the parents are guilty or not guilty. It should be the peers that listen to the parents and the attorneys fight their case because so many of you are wrong. Now, the woman from South Africa, Laika, she was just trying to protect her son. We have two women in here tonight or this morning, Dorothy Cook from North Carolina and Christina Reynosa, who has given Cruella an appeal. Christina Reynosa is a remarkable woman from Las Vegas, Nevada. We also have Bartley, 54, from Montana, who is emotionally wrong and taken. These people I know for firsthand. I had a case of a couple that came to me on a Tuesday and kept their child on a Friday. They had a case where over the weekend that a social worker interfered with them, determined what's wrong with their daughter, and they were accused of medical abuse. And what the parents are doing is making sure by having a second opinion that the appendix had to be removed. A doctor made a wrong diagnosis. They should have done an x-ray because what happened is she had gallstones, not a rupture of her appendix. The child at 4 years old was complaining of stomach pains on the left side of her groin. Well, the appendix is on the right side. Your pain comes from the right side. And if they did an x ray, see, all they did was sonogram, and they thought it was the appendix. And the parents were seeking a second evaluation when the social worker interfered. And that social worker ordered them, if they didn't do it, they'd be done with medical trafficking. And the parents went ahead with the appendix be removed. But later that night, the child was still complaining of severe pain. And what it was is that she was trying to excrete gallstones from her gallbladder that were causing internal pain on the left side. And so they brought her back into the doctor again. I think this was the third time. And they did an x ray and saw the gallstones. Anyway, they resolved it by me talking to me on the show. I'm not a medical doctor, but I looked up what appendix is all about. I looked up what gallstones is all about. And we diagnostic over the phone. And I told them they need to get an attorney, and they got an attorney by Friday. And that attorney came into the 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 attorney came in. Um, Hold on, we'll let that ring because it goes to my voicemail. I get a lot of calls, and that was wrong there. Um, oh boy, injure saver is on. So, um, uh, hold on 1 second. I have to go get my charger. Hold on 1 second. I have to get my charger. Hold on. I'll be right back. How can I help you?
Hey, Bob, this is Carrie from Burke County.
Hi, Carrie from Burke County. You're Burke County, Georgia. And this is Carrie Simpson, right? Sampson. Yes. Hi, Carrie. And it's so good to hear from you. I know you're really discouraged. My live stream started late this morning. I had lost power and my phone wasn't charged up. And I lost power right when I was going to get on to my 10 o'clock live stream. And it took me a half hour to get electricity. I made a promise to them and used a charge card that I'm going to have to pay back to pay the bill. Um, because I didn't want to use a charge. But anyway, I'm on my show late at 11 o'clock and I go to 12 o'clock. And I'm supposed to go to church at 12 o'clock. Okay, I guess I'm not going. I thought today is a special time for my wife's church. So, anyway, what can I do for you, Carrie? I'm so glad you called in. You sound really down.
Well, yesterday I talked to the court attendant, and she was telling me based on everything that was alleged on the paper, the judge signed over it. But the crazy thing about it, Mr. Bob, everything is alleged, and the paper says is alleged. someone presented evidence to the judge automatically listened to my caseworker and her supervisor, didn't even hear me out, and signed over to take my kids the same day I went to court. But I just found out the other day that based on what they were saying, even though all the stuff they did say is not on that paper, and this is why I was trying to get transcripts. So basically, everything that they said was on this paper. I still didn't get a signed paper when the day they took my kids. 17 days later, I'm getting a letter that say yes. Hey, I took your kids, and then he signed it on June 9th. So when I was talking to the court defendant lady yesterday, she said the judge already agreed the classes that they want me to take, and as long as I do the classes and I don't get positive for marijuana or anything like that, then maybe next time I go to court, my caseworker won't have a choice but to tell the judge she did this, that, third. But the crazy thing about it is based on the last time I had a case with them, which is closed. And then also that my children saying, so basically they're using my own case with my children right there and allegations that's not true and not proven in court. So now I have to go to court and kind of backtrack to the judge like, you didn't hear me the first two times, and this is what's going on with my caseworker. My caseworker felt like I wasn't cooperating with her, so she needed you to make me cooperate with her to do these safety plans with them as judges. And I could explain that to the judge, but I did cooperate and I have proof that I cooperated. But if the judge don't listen to me when I do prove to him I was cooperating, I was talking to my caseworker, even though I told her I wanted an attorney to talk to me and all that stuff, all the stuff I was getting information from you, I'm basically telling her that I don't have to talk to you without my attorney present. And I guess in a way, my spirit, God, if I'm praying, my spirit is telling me another reason why they tell me the court is because I told her that I need an attorney to talk to her. So I was listening to you about this. You telling me I don't have to talk to my caseworker without an attorney, but I guess she got in her feelings about me telling her that she took me to court and made the judge, basically told the judge all these false allegations to make me do exactly what they think, because I have to do what the judge say, and if I don't do what the judge say, they get automatic to take my kids. But the judge, I don't think the judge knows that. I just think the judge is just listening to all the allegations, the false allegations, and not even hearing my side
What
of
were
what
your
is
what were
really
your
going on.
allegations, Carrie? What were your allegations?
The allegations was that my fiance picked my son up by his neck and slapped him on the ground, and I got in the middle of the way trying to stop him, and he pushed me out the way. He moved me out the way. Then they saying that I told my 6-year-old not to say anything to DFAS, which that's not true. None of the stuff that they are accusing me they're accusing of saying is not true. All this stuff is not true. I try to tell my caseworker that it's no domestic violence. My oldest son don't have bruises on his neck, and he don't have bruises on when someone slammed him on the ground and hurt him. He don't have no scratches on him. And this is why I was trying to explain to my caseworker, but they say, well, your kid said, this happened,
Yeah,
so
this is the
that's
problem
what.
is that when kids talk, they give validity to the kids. The problem being is that your case was doomed from the beginning because you were talking to them and your children were talking to them and they're believing what your children are saying. Why would your children lie? Why would your children lie? Is there something that you've done or something that they think you've done that would harm them? Why would they lie?
And see, the thing is with my oldest son, because my oldest son has, I don't know how to put it, he's hot-headed, and he want to have his way. he don't want no one to tell him what to do, and by me and
How
my
old is your oldest
fiance,
son? How old is your oldest son?
he's 11. I
Okay.
moved to precinct
And
at
you said your
17.
fiance, was your fiance the father of your children?
Just the 3-year-old, but he's been in my boy's life forever, for a
Okay.
long time.
What made him turn against you, you think?
What made my older son turn
No.
against me?
What made the fiance turn against you? You said you had a with him. Are you still there?
But then my fiance never turned against me. That's just all the
Oh, I'm
reason what he was
confused.
saying.
I'm confused. But you said your fiance was disciplining the child?
No, I did not say that. I said
Oh,
my fiance was helping me with my children, and we was together for a long time. They are accusing my fiance for picking my 11-year-old son up and slamming him on the ground. That's how he got involved. I'm thinking that you was asking me what made my 11-year-old go against my fiance. That's what I thought you was asking.
I was too. I mean, I thought, for instance, are you and your fiance still together?
Right now, they want me to separate from my fiance. Even though this stuff is false allegations, they want me to separate from my fiance because of the stuff that my kids are saying.
So basically, it's your children that are alleged to say things that you say are not true. So you're trying to prove your case, and your fiance. One of the problems is you guys are not legally married, and so it gets kind of hard with the relationship.
Yeah,
It's a really
my attorney said
complex
the same
thing.
thing.
That's why
Yeah,
you need an
that's what
attorney.
they
That's
said.
what you need an attorney for because they're
Oh,
supposedly trained. I'm so sorry.
yeah, yeah, that's what they're saying. That's what my attorney said. That your like legal marriage is something that she said yesterday. I forgot the word that she used, but this is the crazy thing about it. All because of how other people feel and what they feel like with that situation. They say, "Oh, this is a problem because you ain't legally married and you got someone disciplining your kids and like you don't
So are
discipline
they
my
are they
kids."
refusing to give you a court appointed attorney?
They gave me a court. They gave me a court defendant person, but she's telling me that she can't get transcripts. She can't get transcripts. She can't go back and look at my old case because she just got involved in June. When she got involved in June, she can't go back at the state to look at what was said in court. And then she's also having a hard time getting information from the CPS attorneys as far as my drug screen and information as far as what's going on in my case. She asking me questions as far as did I get proof of my drug screens? No. Did I get proof of me doing single classes? No. Did I get proof of me doing domestic classes? No. And then this is what she was telling me. Maybe you need to just go ahead and sign up these things for yourself so you can get your children back. And I'm telling her I already did it with CPS and the Katie Bell. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's
If my
okay.
caseworker,
It's
if my
okay.
caseworker, if my caseworker refused to basically tell the judge that yes, she was cooperating and stuff, I still have emails and text messages from the people that would come to my house and doing these assessments. So that's what it says, what it's called, assessment only. So at the end of the day, when I go to court, she won't have no choice to tell the judge, yes, she cooperated, she did all her classes and stuff, and now the judge is based on, now everything's still based on what the judge wants me to do. But like
So
I
what
said,
was the
I know
outcome? What was the
what
outcome yesterday? Because I do have to end my show. I've already talked an hour and 1 minute. It's 12:07. 7 and I need to be over at 12 o'clock. I normally am from 10 to 11, but it started to show late because of difficulty of having a power connection for my computer. Um,
I don't, I don't know what the outcome gonna be. But it's about until I go to court on the 21st. When I go to court on the 21st, that's the only way I can know what the judge wants me to do. But right
all
now,
right.
I just
You
really
need
need
to follow what the
my
judge
country.
says. You need to do what the judge says. If the judge says you have to
Even
take,
if the judge,
even if the
even
judge
if
is
the
wrong,
judge
yeah.
told me, even if the judge told me that I only know what you know, he even said that in court. He said, I only know what you know. I'm just signing papers. So he don't even know
Well,
what
no,
I
he's
know
a
about
referee.
everything. For
He's a
him,
referee. You ever watch football? You ever see referees stop a game and do a timeout, and sometimes they or make the rules. You know, they the game is played
and they
and the
do,
rule breaks,
you know, in between,
and
they make
sometimes
rules
they
as they
make the
go.
bad rules, and sometimes they make the wrong rules, and they're not perfect. But a judge is nothing more than a referee. It's sad because the way that CPS is structured, there isn't a jury trial. You aren't judged by your peers. It should be. I think it should be a jury trial. I think it really has come to the point where your people in the community that are picked to be jurors decide the outcome of your case. It should not be one individual who may be bad. Not all judges are good. They are appointed. Excuse me, they're elected. They're elected by the people, but people don't take the time to pick the right kind of judge. I don't know what the background of this judge is. Have you looked up the judge and see what background he has in law? Is he
No, no, it said juvenile law, basically, just juvenile law.
Well, no,
But,
no.
yeah,
There's 3 areas of law that they deal with. Not only is it juvenile
when,
law, it's family law, and then it's all them together in dependency law. It's dependency
when I
law.
looked it up, when I looked it up on Google, it said just that one thing.
It what does it
They
say?
just said that one thing. And it's always him. It's always him doing my cases too. So the first
Well,
two times I seen him, and the next time I go to court, it's gonna be him again. They don't change the judge.
I know they
They
don't.
don't change the judge up.
Our judge was
So
bad
then,
for almost 3 years. My case ran
so that's what.
from May of 2015 to December 2017. So that was 15 to 16. That was 2 years, and I went through
But
what
they,
was
that's the thing is, the judge. I feel like the judge is not even listening to everything that's being said because it's alleged. He can't take my case off that alleged. If there's no proof, is there? There's no
Well,
proof.
here's the
Take the
problem
proof.
is CPS works different than any other law. When a complaint is filed by a professional reporter or layperson reporter, CPS has to believe it's true and they have to investigate. But you're guilty until you're proven innocent. Every other area of
But they
law,
still,
you
but
are
I feel like they still, now they taking me to court. They still have to prove to the judge that this is going on, and this is why. This is why the judge was like, I need proof. I need you to show me pictures of this. I need you. But it's up to the judge to believe any side of it. The CPS can say anything, but it's up to the judge to believe
well,
that
if that
out of that.
CPS is corrupt and sides with the judge or the judge sides with the CPS, you're doomed. My case was corrupt. My children should never have taken from my home. They weren't in danger. They should never have been put into foster care. They should never have been hurt in foster care. They should never have been alienated by the CPS worker. That's against the law, alienation. And I'm
Just
telling
pray
you,
for me about, yeah, I said just pray for me because I feel like after I can explain to the judge what, because I have proof of the text messages between me and my kids worker when they started. I have pictures of my children. I have
okay,
videos of my
those
children.
documentations got to be presented. You see, you're not an attorney. And if you have a court appointed attorney, you can't really talk in court. You have to go through your attorney. Now, if you're pro se and you know enough about how to be a lawyer, you can present your documents in a systematic way and go through them. But that's what an attorney learns and trains and goes through. The trouble with public defenders is they're not the best attorneys. And they have a caseload. CPS loads them up with 30 to 100 clients, and they don't have time, and they don't want to defend your case.
I mean, how she's telling me she is trying to help me, but they ain't giving her information. And she's so busy she can't get information from me or them. She can email them right now if they send me the drug screen. They take forever to send the drug screens because I can't get the drug screens from my caseworker. And it seems like to me the caseworker it's always something with them. So, and I'm calling you for Mr. Barbers to tell you right now, I just need some prayers. I need you to pray for me because I have work next Thursday, and I just want the judge to hear me. I'm basically telling him to listen to my constitutional rights. That's all I'm going to. Listen to my constitution rights and follow my rights as a custody being a custody, like me being in Georgia. If he could just listen to my constitutional rights and follow the law that comes with that, and maybe he can understand like this is against the law. You can't do this without this and that and put the CPS people in their place. If he do not, then I must just tell him I need another court defendant, I need another lawyer, I need another caseworker, and I want my kids back. That's all I want to tell him. But if he do not want to, if he do hear me and he still refuses to understand my point of view as a mother, because my kid need a mother, then what can I do? Because I don't want to lose my life forever. Think about it, because if I lose my life forever, I wouldn't know what to do in this world. I love my kids with all my heart. I've been fighting this ever since May. I've been trying to figure out what's been going on. This is why I'm on the internet trying to figure out and someone that can help me. I can't afford an attorney. I went to legal aid. I went through legal assurance. I did all that. No one. I have to have a lot of information that I don't have. I have to have case numbers. I have to have this. I have to have that. And since I don't know none of that information, I can't get legal insurance. I can't go to legal aid. I mean, legal aid. I can't do all this stuff if I don't know what to do. And this is why I come on your show to get more information as far as what I could do. Because I can't come out of pocket, me being a low income person, even paying $200 and something. That's taking a whole lot of life away from me, not paying my bills. And if I get behind my bills, and then what? My kids don't have nowhere to stay, and then they just throw that in my face too in court. So this is why I come to your show, try to get somebody to actually help me, because I feel like I can't get along off these people, and they can get paid that way, but no one is doing anything for free. I wouldn't even do anything for free, but I just said I'm having so much time doing everything you say, and by me doing everything you say, it's always, well, I can't do this, you can't do that, you can't go to court, you can't talk to the director, you can't talk to the director about your case because they have to look into it. I even tried to call the number that was on your stream, and before I can call the people that basically trying to shut down CPS. I can't keep reaching out to them because then it's gonna take them a minute to investigate what's going on in
Are you
Georgia. So
talking
they're trying to
about?
figure
Are
out,
they talking about Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency?
yeah,
Yeah. What?
yeah,
What
those
is?
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, they got so much stuff going on their end. So all I'm doing, I'm just a mother of three beautiful boys that got low income and that's trying her best. And all I feel like I'm doing is doing my best. No one is out here helping me. So I have to make the court defendant lady work. I have to make my caseworker do her job. I have to make the judge do his job. I have to make the supervisor
I
do their
understood.
job. But you see, I have to do all these things by myself, and by me doing everything by myself and me not knowing everything, people is attacking me and saying, "Oh, the judge
Well, they technically they can, but if he issues a court order, they can. So let me do this. Can we resume this tonight at 7 o'clock? Can you call me in, Carrie, at 7 p.m. my time, which will be 10 o'clock your time? Because I don't want to cut you off short. You express 100%. I feel for you. I care for you. I want to help you out further. But I do have to end my show. I have certain guidelines I need to follow. Okay? Carrie? Carrie, are you still there? Oh boy. Carrie, are you still there? Hello, Carrie. I lost Carrie. Um, that is a woman that is trying her best in circumstances beyond her control. I hate the way we're ending today. I have a talk at noon, but please set aside 7 p.m. tonight for my live stream. And I do want to help because I care about all of you. There's so many factors going through. I didn't realize about the post, the PSTD, that, boy, just unbelievable. You know, I want everybody to try to do their best. I am too. And I'm going to end up closing because I do believe in God. And we have to pray. And I'm going to pray to him as best as I can. I know you are, Bartley, and I want to thank everybody that's in my room here. Bartley is from Montana in the USA. Dorothy Cook is from North Carolina. Christina Reynoso is from Nevada. And Carrie Simpson, who talked on the phone, is from Georgia. They're beautiful people. They've come into my family here, and they keep coming back. And I feel discouraged that maybe I'm not given the right advice or something, but I can only help you as best as I can. And it seems like to fight CPS, you have to have a good attorney. I did. I had to get an attorney. But even still, it is hard. It is so hard. So I want you to know that I'm here for you and I will be here for you. And I'll do my utmost to be there tonight at 7 p.m. That's my next time, Pacific Standard Time. Please do not stop from fighting for your case and for your children. Don't give up. And Carrie, I'm sorry you had to leave. I know you're very discouraged. Please don't be. Come back and see me again and we can talk about it. We can talk about it. I love you guys and I'm really sorry for what you're going through. To God, that God will help us through all this. So, with that in closing, there's a brief little video you'll hear at the end of my show when I sign off. Write down the Doge information. That's the last resort you have to fight your case. God bless you all and have a great day. This is Bob Pace signing off.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last one.